And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Oh, what a tangled web we have weaved. It's Gerald Glassford. Come on, back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, Josh Peterson and I covered the succession of Star Wars and how Kathleen Kennedy is out, Dave Filoni and a CFO are in. Also, the Switch 2 struggles during the holiday season. We cover that as well, plus streaming shows about what boundaries they can come across that cable and broadcast studios can't, why we think the quality of streaming shows are much better than those on broadcast and cable, and sometimes what we see from certain large streaming outlets and how they like to put their imprint on certain things for good and sometimes not so good. Just talk to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on that. We talk about that and more on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, wherever you get your podcasts. Truly appreciate again you joining us. Don't forget, right behind me, I got those beautiful canvas arts of LeBron and Luca brought to you by my good friend at Thrift Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Hopefully you'll give him some love like Tuff has had. What's up, Tuff? Great to have you here. Go ahead and make sure you send out Drip Show some love right there for you at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. He can go ahead and make for you a nice canvas art, a hat, a shirt, a pillow like here with Kobe and Gigi, a poster. He could do a lot of things. Go ahead and first follow him, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, social media stuff at Drip Show Shop. He'll let you know if he can do it. Because if you have a design in mind, a pop culture design, a sports design, you text it to him. Hey, Drip Show, can you do da 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 in a da 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 da? And he'll tell you da 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 yes or no if he can do it. And if he can, the quality is unmatched. Unmatched. You go to see my whole family was jealous and in awe when I pulled out both those, all three of them. Actually, I got the Kobe still right here. I'm going to switch Kobe up here in the next couple of days and put Kobe up on the wall to interchange some of that. So you guys will be seeing a little bit different canvas art here. But man, the quality is unmatched. And if you have a pop culture or sports design that you want to see happen, go ahead and hit up my man at Trip Shop on your local social media outlet. Want to go ahead and mention as well, of course, John Costa, Clutch Doc and Lakers Corner. He said he is right now could not be coming on because he is dominating. He said the word dominate on his adult basketball league. Something about a 360 windmill dunk. I don't know what he meant by that, but he was dominating on his adult league, so he can't make it here tonight. But also, Joe Soro, he is wrapping up his show, I believe. I don't know if he's going to stop on by here, but Joe has thoughts on the Joe Soro experiment show on the Kyle Tucker signing officially, and then also as well the Bus family drama, which we're going to get into here on tonight's show. So if you want to hear what Joe has to say, in case he doesn't stop by tonight, because he's been on for a while, so I don't plan on him being on, but I've sent him the invite regardless. Go ahead and check out the Joe Soro experiment to hear his thoughts as well. So truly appreciate you joining us. I thought I'd come on a little bit of a while because I didn't expect to be on today. I thought it would be a nice, relaxing Wednesday. So you'd be able to go ahead and just enjoy, catch up on some few things. I've been doing some things, projects behind the scenes, Laker related, things like that I need to catch up on. Did an interview and did some other things as well. And you know what? Things were going to be great. But then Wednesday morning, 6:00, I happened to turn on ESPN.com because I was just dropping my wife off of work. And I was looking at and seeing, oh boy, here we go. You could just tell this was going to be a doozy because Baxter Holmes, one of the best investigative reporters out there, just talked to the Phoenix Suns, how much he's made their life miserable. One of the best investigative reporters out there dropped the story today. And the story's on ESPN.com, and I'd love to show you, but I don't want to get it copyrighted at me. I don't want ESPN to at me with their bots. It's entitled, How the Bus Family Infighting drove the $10 billion sale of the Lakers. And in this article, I'm going to go ahead and just cover some of the cliff notes on there for you. I mean, there's much more stuff in there. So please, after this, for some late night reading or some work time reading or on your lunch break type reading, please check it out. It's a really good read. It's but 3 or 4,000 word type deal, 5,000 word. I don't. It's a fairly lengthy article, but here goes. I'm going to read to you what I wrote out here. In the article itself, some startling revelations came out in the open, with the article going into detail on the firing of elder siblings, Jim and Johnny, sister Janie, and the younger half brothers, Jesse and Jody, who were allegedly, which was allegedly orchestrated by Jeanie Buss herself. The story also speaks of the youngest Busses, Joey and Jesse, their desire to keep the team within the family possession, as an idea to sell a partial stake in the team that would have still guaranteed them a future majority ownership, like sell a part of the team, keep the money from that, but still retain a majority ownership going forward. The article also mentions frequently the rift between the siblings. Some reported cold words, very cold words by Jeanie herself to Jesse because, okay, get this, guys. There was supposedly an arrangement between Dr. Jerry Buss and his wife, his first wife. Well, they said that, they were not going to have any more kids outside the ones that they had. They were not going to have any kids with other people. Well, they got divorced in the early 70s, and Dr. Buss, was a party guy, but he had kids with another person, which is Joey and Jesse. But I guess during one of the conversations, and this listed and outlined in the article, that I guess was said something to the fact that she at some point in time during these days, and this went around Lakers organization, so it's been said enough times that it might be right on the money. She said you should have never been born, which I thought was particularly cold. I don't know what manner it was phrased. I don't know how it was said, but yeah, just the fact that it was said was just, yeah, that's kind of bad. So with that said, yes, that revelation was there. There's also some stuff about what contingency plans Dr. Buss put himself put into place if his desire for family ownership would not truly come to pass. But the biggest revelation of all, the biggest juicy, salacious story out of this was not just the family infighting, but was Baxter Holmes reporting that Jeanie had allegedly become increasingly upset at LeBron James and Clutch for what she saw reportedly as them taking credit, or LeBron James taking credit for saving the Lakers and being very unappreciative of the Lakers, reportedly unappreciative of the Lakers drafting Bronny James in the 2024 NBA draft. She did come out with a statement later today, with the Athletic, saying it's really not right. Given all the great things LeBron has done for the Lakers, this has to be that he has to be pulled into my family drama. To say that it wasn't appreciated is just not true and completely unfair to him. So as the Buss family drama continues, just stay tuned with this right here at the Lakers Fast Break, and definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, very salacious article, very very salacious article. Black, like I said, he is at his adult rec league. Something about jumping over cars and doing a slam dunk or something like that. I don't know, but he said dominating. He is dominating like dominating on his adult rec league right now. So he could not make it for tonight's show. But Sorrow hates us, right? Says Jeanie is beautiful, but I want to take her out for dinner. Okay. I know Jay Moore would have an issue with that, but by all means, go ahead, hit her up. There you go. Get her number. El Rosto, what's up, my friend? He says it's an ESPN hit piece. Uh, I don't. He says, I can guarantee Jeanie never said she almost traded LeBron. Oh, yes, that was another thing, that she was so mad that she was on the verge of trading LeBron to a team, most likely the Clippers, back in 2022 before he signed his extension. That was another thing, another revelation in the thing as well. She said she would know he couldn't be traded. Well, no, this was before This was before he got the no trade clause on his last extension, El Rosto. So it was mentioned that before this, she reportedly and allegedly was upset regarding LeBron James and Clutch, that she was thinking and contemplating trading him to another team, you know, quite possibly the Clippers. Again, the Clippers, like the Kobe deal, that when Kobe wanted to go to the Clippers and whatnot, also long ago. But again, that's allegedly El Roster what it said. I can just say, based off of Baxter Holmes' work as a fellow journalist, which I am I guess, a journalism major when I graduated from. But I can just say that his reports on previous teams like the Phoenix Suns have been, you know, stirred up a lot as far as things of that nature, and have also proceeded to be factualized and led to a lot of disciplinary action against previous and now current ownership of said Phoenix Suns team. So again, whether you want to believe it or not, that's entirely up to you, and I totally respect that. But yeah, the proposed time, alleged time that she was supposedly contemplating the Clippers was before he put his final extension in there and added that no trade clause in there. So yeah, that's one thing. Again, believe it or not believe it, I'm not here to go ahead and convince you otherwise or say what. I've seen from Baxter Holmes' work that he doesn't put out their stuff unless he thinks it's been validated through correct sources. But again, he would go out there on ESPN format with sources unless he was able to. And if Jeannie, if Jeannie says this isn't true, then she should file a lawsuit. She should file libel and slander as far as that's concerned. So um, maybe she's going to lawyer up. We'll find out. We'll find out, Rosta. But if nothing legalized happens, then if ESPN isn't hit with a lawsuit, then maybe some of it is, or maybe if it, many of it, or all of it is true. So we'll have to see. What's up, Gustavo? Hopefully all is well as you. Again, I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I'm just telling you what was written in the article, what was alleged in the article, and his track record as far as is concerned as a reporter. So you can believe it or not believe it, but nobody walks in water in that organization as far as is concerned. That includes Jeannie. If that's the case, and she said the things that she said to her half brother, if she did or believed or had intimated that she was contemplating at one time trading LeBron, then again, that's up to us to speculate on. But I'm assuming he has proper sources that have indicated as such. But again, defamation. There you go, Ralph. Yes, defamation. So if it's defamation, then there you go. We'll see a lawsuit then, and we'll see what happens. But again, this is a Lakers fast break. Just thought I'd say, and it is what it is. But Ralph, I don't know, will they win? Because not everybody wins these things. Sometimes they bow out, and sometimes they cow out, but sometimes they win out. So we'll see what happens. Again, if there's something said and it's not true, then obviously the light that will come out to light and to fruition at some point in time. But yes, the family drama for the buses continues. They continue with quite a fervor on what should have been a quiet day for the Lakers as they head back home to continue the road trip tomorrow night against the Clippers. But as reported on today by Baxter Holmes, that article did drop and named a lot of names in there. So what are you guys taking out of that article as far as the Buss family internal strife? That should be not very big news to many of you out there, because a lot of you out there have followed us. We've noted and reported on the show the internal strife, the internal back and forth in regards to the actual selling of the team and just the back and forth between the family and how bad it's been over the years. As far as the vote, we had always believed it was 4-2 because the younger buses who eventually got fired, along with as well the administrative roles for the elder buses as well. That was the thing that wasn't clearly indicated before, but was pointed out in the article that all the siblings were fired, and not just the Joey and Jesse Bus, but Joey and Jesse Bus going a at first having their own plan to sell a portion of the team because they aren't as the buses aren't as money, I guess, solvent. They don't have as much money on the caps on the books as other owners do. So they came up, instead of selling the team outright, when there was hints leading that direction, according to the article, that they devised a plan that they wanted to go ahead and bring to the family members regarding selling a portion of the team, but still retaining the majority control of the team going forward. And it's interesting because I guess that was poo-pooed upon by Jeannie herself, who then went out of her way to go ahead soon thereafter and go into with Mark Walter as far as the deal we now know today. And it seemed like at the time that those two were still against the sale of the team to Mark Walter because they felt that they could have either a still owned the team and still been very competitive or highly competitive, even though they aren't as money solvent as some of the other teams that have real billionaire owners, or B, could have gotten a better valuation than $10 billion for the team. They were thinking in the neighborhood of $12 billion, according to what was said in the article. So, again, if that's the case, it was actually going to be 4-2, and that's what we always thought it was be. It was be 4-2 because the buses, the younger buses, the half brother buses, said that they weren't going to approve the sale, but eventually they realized that the other older siblings were going to commit to the deal. So I guess the final vote was 6-0, which was something that was brought to light on that. That was a unanimous decision, even though it was not so unanimous when they look at it and when you read the article on it. So again, Ralph says Abu Dhabi has trillionaires. Yes, I'm assuming that they do. I'm not here to count anyone's account on that, but it is something that, again, with Mark Walter leading this, I guess, sale for the Lakers. Again, it there was pointed out that there was some Saudi investment firms 2-3 months before the $10 billion sale for the Lakers, decided to contribute $10 billion or thereabouts right to the firm headed up by Mark Walter before that valuation was made. Convenient timing. I'll leave you up to that as far as that's concerned. But again, the Lakers are in the hands of Mark Walter. We're hoping it for a better turnaround. We're hoping for continued success for the team, hoping that it will lead into a better direction. But yes, just interesting to see the internal strife brought out in more light because, as you know, the family drama has been very public. It's very out there. They even, a Jeannie Bus approved documentary on Hulu. Remember, what about 2022, 2023? I think it's also mentioned in the article some of the comments about the internal strife for them. But it's interesting to see how much more has been brought out by this article. So yeah, absolutely. Craig, yeah, 2 months before. There you go, 2 months before on the Saudi investment on that. Craig, truly appreciate you joining us. What's going on, my friend? Again, it's Gerald Glassford right here for you at the Lakers Fast Break. We're talking the article by Baxter Holmes that dropped earlier today in regards to the whole behind the scenes of how this deal went down, the eternal strife. And again, some of the things that we weren't privy to, like again, something that was, I guess, common knowledge around the Lakers facility around how Jeannie had allegedly said to the half brothers, "You were never supposed to be born. You should never be born, as far as is concerned, because of the agreement that was allegedly have been made between Dr. Jerry Buss and his first wife, the father of the Buss siblings." And also brought back to life mentioned to the adopted daughter, the daughter that they originally had in, I think, 1952, 1953. They mentioned her in the Hulu documentary as well, as far as another technically Buss daughter that they gave up for adoption back in the early 50s as well. So, um, Ralph says Joe Soro responds to the story. I don't give a bleep. This is a Disney Channel. This is championship basketball. I care about winning, not the Kardashians. You're welcome. I gave his response. Wouldn't have it any other way, Ralph, from your man indeed. Again, the guy, I believe you are his nephew, if I remember correctly, Mr. Joe Soro, who, again, please, you want to check out his entire thoughts because it doesn't look like he's coming on tonight because he was on for a little while. And props to him for that. Go check out the Joe Soro experiment right there. Is that not? Oh, yeah. Oh, Ralph, that's quoting from the Joe Soro handbook right there. I think you got page 32 right on the money. Right on the money, Ralph. Absolutely. Right on the money. Um, so Soro hates whatever this. Will this affect our game plan on court from all this? You know what? Normally you would say yes, but this is the Lakers, and this internal strife has gone on quite a while. LeBron, because he's LeBron. You know, whether or not you believe the I'm going to trade LeBron to the Clippers stuff or not, yeah, or the fact that he may have been disingenuous in his appreciation for drafting Bronny, whatever. As far as you want to go there, or that he might that have pissed off Jeanie because he might have intimated or said that he saved the Lakers back when he came over, in 2018 to the Lakers. So, I don't think it's going to bother them one bit. I think they're going to still do what they're going to do. It's not like the aspiration, because I really think the aspiration thing affected the Clippers quite a bit to start the season. They've overcome that now to be a play-in team, and we'll find out tomorrow night. Hopefully, they won't have Kawhi there, but again, we've seen the best of teams without their best players in the lineup before, so we'll see what happens there. Eric says it goes full circle from summer of 2017 until now. Yeah, it does. It goes from the time that LeBron and Clutch had intimated to the Lakers that they were going to go, and their future was to sign with the Lakers as soon as they were able to in the offseason. And it goes from there. But yeah, I think it's basically what a good read. T3, thank you so much. But yeah, whether or not you believe what Baxter Holmes says, again, we've seen, whether it's true or not, if you throw enough lawyers at it, you're going to make somebody happy out of it. But I don't think ESPN in today's day and age would not have put that out there. An editor wouldn't have proved out there without at least enough sources to back you up, or the fact that they're willing to lawyer up if you're going to lawyer up. And so we'll see if Jeanie lawyers up, and or if the Lakers lawyer up and try to sue for defamation, like you said, or libel, slander, what have you. But she didn't outright say it was wrong in that retort. She just was sad that LeBron James was dragged into the Bust family drama. That's all she intimated to. So she didn't say anything was wrong in that article. She didn't say that this was wrong or this is not true or that's right, because I don't think she did. Let me go ahead and read those exact quote again. Maybe she did. To say that it wasn't appreciated. Okay, you're right. No, I want to make a correction here. Okay. She said to say that it wasn't appreciated is just not true and completely unfair to him. So, okay. So that part about the alleged non appreciation for Bronny James 2024 NBA draft or saving the Lakers or what have you. I guess that part she says is not true, but the part where she is said about to Jesse Buss in regards to the words that you should have never been born, whatnot. That part she didn't comment on any further on. So that's kind of interesting there. So again, she just saying that it's not true in regards to the stuff about LeBron, and not the Clippers part, but the stuff about not being appreciative, I guess. So let's clarify that. So how does Bronny have to feel right now? Stefan, I'd feel just fine as long as those paychecks keep coming in, and those paychecks keep coming into Bronny, and that's all that matters. And he's going to be coming in for another guaranteed year on that wonderful deal that they signed with him. So I'll leave it at that. But Bloodhound says Dodgers should be worried too. They also have a deal with Spectrum, and yeah, that's something that's been interesting because Brian Windhorst has been around doing the media rounds today based off this article. Baxter Holmes to a lesser extent, but Brian Windhorst has been doing a lot of local LA stuff as far as radio and whatnot. And he talked about how the Lakers with the Spectrum deal and gave it a perspective because the money troubles of certain clubs, like for instance Memphis gets, I believe, an average of $11 million in TV rights fees per week because of what's gone on with the carrier for them and the money troubles that they've had. Whereas the Lakers with the Spectrum deal average $200 million per week. That's just that seep in. The rights deals for the Lakers, when you watch them on Spectrum, $200 million a week. But El Rosto said, she said it was true. I have to get the quote. I have the quote, give 30 minutes to get it. Okay. Well, again, you know, she said what she said again to her half brothers. Again, it just shows the division, and it just shows the animosity and what true power and true, money, can do to break up a family like this. And it's very sad. It's very sad because I know that Dr. Buss didn't then, when he saw the cracks starting to form, and I know he was obviously sad about that, but if he was alive today, I know he would be really sad about what's gone on as far as these family, if the whole stuff had continued in the same fashion, whether he's alive or not. But if he's, alive, I know he would be just very broken up about, the fact that, the family that he loves so much is just been at each other's throat ever since his passing. Stefan says, LOL, I guess but man, this kid knows how that now even his own organization public admits he's not a real player. He just isn't. He just isn't. And, no matter how much certain individuals out there try to make him a player, it just, something would have shown up by now, and it just hasn't. And I feel sorry for the kid, but he jumped at the chance to leave USC early to go do this. It's crazy. I mean, Stefan, I was talking to you about it. The fact is, you drafted a kid, months away, months from having a heart issue, a major heart issue. He was dead. I believe his heart had stopped for a while, and it had to be resuscitated right there at USC. And was only when he came back, was only averaging 5 points a game. I really needed more time to develop, to see if he could have developed into something more. But that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda on Bronny's part. And again, he took the money, took the guaranteed money, and he ran. He's got a 3-year guaranteed lifeline in the NBA to see if he can actually play in the league. And so far, has. But also here today is a good man indeed. It is, of course, the man behind I Got Next Sports Media. It is my good friend indeed. It is, of course, Legend. Legend, great to have you here as a guy who has sees things as an outside observer's perspective. How interesting was that article that dropped earlier today by Baxter Holmes on the Lakers' internal strife and decision making when it comes to the sale to Mark Walton?
I found it pretty interesting learning that there was more family drama than what we imagined. And partially, I'm not really surprised. I figured there probably was some conflict that has never came out. But what I am a little surprised of, that LeBron name got dragged in, and I'm like, oh well, his name is involved.
Always has to have LeBron involved.
But I think the part that really got me the most probably was when they mentioned he was unappreciative about them drafting his son, and him got his ego, and so all that stuff about him. I was a little surprised that started coming out, and even the part about the savior of the Lakers partner, I was a little surprised.
Now she says that part isn't true. That's the part that she said in her statement that she says isn't true. And I don't know if it is or it isn't, because again, that's something that's up to what was reported and what was sourced to Baxter Holmes, and what she says is different now. And obviously she's trying to do what she can to squelch that part of it as far as the relationship between her, LeBron, and Clutch going forward. But but it's interesting. She's not denying anything when it comes to the internal family strife, what was said, what was done, all the stuff behind the scenes. She is not doing any of that because she knows it's out there, and she just feels bad that LeBron has been dragged into that internal family struggle.
Okay, so it's good to know that the part about LeBron is not completely true. Okay, I about to say I was like the savior part. They're not wrong on that part, but
Yeah, she didn't say anything about the stuff that's gone on with the family. She only regretted that LeBron has been dragged into it by being part of this article, and that she said that she is not ungrateful. She is not ungrateful for what was done. She said she totally denies that end of it as far as the ungratefulness for Bronny being drafted or the fact that he came and quote unquote saved the Lakers.
okay, gotcha. So everything about LeBron is pretty much on the side. Okay,
But yeah,
the others,
go ahead, my friend.
I didn't gonna say the other stuff. Yeah, this is why you don't let family business get involved with money. This is why I always tell people you don't hire your family members because this is what usually happens. Something usually ends up happening all the time, and this is a prime example. But they're gonna be cleaned up. They're gonna be gone, and problem gonna be solved.
Just saying that part about the Clippers and all that, as far as possibly being traded to the Clippers, that she was so upset with him, et cetera, et cetera. And again, just a lot of salacious stuff there. And if you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. If you do, you do. That's up to you. But again, I know from Baxter Holmes' work on the Phoenix Suns that a lot of eyes were raised and some NBA executives took note and made some action in regards to the previous owner and current owner as well. I think he also went back and did something on Matt Ishbia's time as there as well so far. But here today to discuss it is a good man indeed. Please go ahead and check out his entire thoughts on the Lakers family drama. And Ralph, I will see if he actually says that. What you said earlier was the quote in there that Joe Soro might have said. It is the man himself, Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. So interesting on a quiet day on a Wednesday when they know they could, in between days, you got to have something that's juicy that's going to pick up the news in Lakerland. And you know what? Whether you believe it or not, this certainly got people talking in Lakerland.
The the story about Bronny and drafting him. I hope those who have been watching the show or listen to the show look at our show because we don't have any inside information. We don't have anyone in the media that would talk to us. Most of the people that are in any way connected with the Lakers they're not sycophants, but they're controlled zombies. They're not going to let you talk anything about the Lakers in a derogatory way, or they'll get you out. Ramona Shelburne can validate that, right?
Yes.
So I'm not going to speak for Gerald or anybody else. For example, I will never get close to the Lakers, and I don't give two shits about that anyways. When you draft anyone, I don't care who it is, when you draft anyone and that person is not going to bring any value to your team, especially in basketball, this isn't like a Mike Piazza thing where there's 7,000 rounds in a baseball draft and they want to do somebody a favor, which I had that discussion with somebody once. I said, Mike Piazza was drafted as a favor to Tommy Lasorda. But at the same time, Mike Piazza is a Hall of Famer now and arguably the greatest hitting catcher of all time. Now, if Bronny had anything close to getting there, hell, if he was a viable option to just be a good role player, it'd be a different discussion. But basketball is a little easier to figure out than baseball sometimes. If you look at the drafts in baseball, sometimes first overall draft picks are bigger busts than any pick in baseball. They're like, how often do they become? It's more of a question of, is this first overall pick gonna be a stud versus, let's say in the NBA, you're more going, how the hell did this guy not become a stud, right? I found that part interesting because I don't give a shit. Just like my cousin Ralph said, I don't give a shit.
Cousin, I'm sorry, that was
I don't give a shit. Well, he's my nephew because he's a younger kid. He's my older cousin's son. He's like a nephew.
Okay, no worries.
You can call him my nephew. It's fine. I introduce him as my nephew. But I don't give a shit about the bus drama. I couldn't give a fuck if they disappeared forever. I don't care. But that particular discussion is interesting because I want you all to know that observation, sometimes it's an observation skill set. It's not, I need to go learn how to be an NBA GM to know how people are. This isn't about sometimes the game. It's about people. You drafted Bronny James because you thought LeBron James was going to come back to you and say, man, you just made my dream come true. I'm going to take $30 million. I don't even know if that's true. And I'm not even going to fault LeBron for not doing that. I'm not, it's not even a thought. Like in my head, it's like, it doesn't matter. That discussion should never come up. You are a team that's already struggling with talent, and you wasted a draft pick in a draft where there's only 2 picks. There isn't 700 picks like there is in baseball. It isn't the NFL where it's 7 rounds and you pick and you have comp picks in the 7th round where you have 4 picks there because of all the free agents you lost, and you pick a guy to see. Hey, this was a desperate team with very little control in talent acquisition for many reasons. The CBA, the way they've set up the draft, your ability to not be able to keep certain draft picks due to pickups from drafts or trades, whatever. You wasted a pick on a player that has no business anywhere near a college team, let alone an NBA team. And then you start to wonder why there's so much stupid drama. I just had to listen to fucking Ohio boy. I'm not going to criticize his weight. Everybody does that. I don't think that's the right way to go with that. You know who I'm talking about. That's the sycophant. That's the LeBron sycophant. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, Wendy, you know what it is. And of course the biggest ass kissing dickless. I'm getting out of hand here a little bit now, but
I'm not gonna say it, by all means.
So okay, here where I'm going with this is I'm trying to think about. I'm trying not to come off the rail. I'm trying not to get off the tracks here. It kind of reminds me of the Mike Tomlin apologist in a lot of ways, but it's you have these people who will flip a story because again they're in the media and they're trying to make what Jeannie has done into some kind of positive thing because they do know her. It's like that balance, because if they don't, then they won't get the privileges, or maybe they know them personally. See, this is the one thing that I did appreciate about Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert didn't sugarcoat with people he hung out with, directors, actors, any of that. And there's a really good documentary before he died about that. They talked about it. And This is what gets lost in all this. Is when you don't tell the truth, this is the shit that happens. This is what happens. And for me, being a family man and being very, very clear on there's no such thing as strife in my family. My sister, my wife, my kids. I don't. These things would never exist in my family. Would never allow it. Oh, Joe, you factor in this. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. I don't give a fuck. There's no response to it. Okay. Family drama seeping into the public, family drama seeping into now LeBron and his son. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we've been talking about. And I'm watching ESPN just before I got on the show and how they're trying to make it look like Jeannie was this ruthless. She was able to get Jim out of this and not have to do this and fire her brother. I'm like, what are you talking about? Ruthless what? Where was she ruthless? Why wasn't she ruthless drafting players and making trades? Just making up shit. Why? Because she's a woman? You try to make her look like, she was this woman that was dealing with all these men and she got one on them. Is that what it is? We talking about the truth here? Are you supposed to be banging the coach too? Is that part of being the woman, strong woman? Because Dr. Buss didn't like that, and Dr. Buss wasn't an angel. Imagine that. Dr. Buss made his own decisions as a grown adult that probably weren't the best decisions. And even he was eked out at that. And it's not just coaches that she's been rumored to hang out with. So is this what this is the ruthlessness of this? In the end, I can't ever say in any way without lying to everybody that LeBron James coming to LA was an absolute blessing. I don't look at it as a regret because it's either that, and at the time, either that or dealing with having to put your hopes in a Brandon Ingram or a Julius Randle, a D'Angelo Russell, Alonzo Ball. No, you don't get Anthony Davis without LeBron. So in the end, thank God he came to LA, especially in that situation where you're coming off 20 wins, 17 wins. Rob Sacre was your starting center. Tarek Black was your starting power forward. Ryan Kelly was your starting small forward. Jordan Clarkson was your best player for a minute. So, yeah. I'm tired. I'm tired of nonsense. I said this on the show just a few hours ago. You don't hear any of this stuff in with the Dodgers, do you? You don't hear any of this stuff. They're talking about Mookie Betts and how a 5-tool star changed everything because he was unselfish. This guy did everything on a baseball field that odd in every way, and he still does. How do you move from right field to shortstop in your 30s? You don't hear that. Guy almost won a Gold Glove doing that. That's the kind of story here, and it's not an accident that these guys are setting up to be possibly the greatest baseball dynasty that we've ever seen. And it's going to sound like I'm a homer there, right, Gerald? Because I'm a Dodger fan, I'm calling them the greatest dynasty. Well, think about that for a second, guys. If you guys know the history of baseball, there wasn't a championship series until 1969. And then from 1969 until 1995, there was only a championship series before you went to the World Series. So all those Yankee championships, all those St. Louis Cardinals championships, Oakland A's championships, Philadelphia A's when they were Philadelphia. I'm picking the teams that have won a lot of championships in the history of baseball. A lot of those guys had to only win 4 games to win a championship. You know how many games the Dodgers have won in 6 seasons in the winning World Series? You know how many games they've had to win 3 World Series? 37. They've won 24 games the last 2 years to win 2 titles. Some of those teams that won multiple championships only had to win 4, and a lot of them had to win 8 when it started to get a little bit more expanded. And we're at a time in Major League Baseball when we talk about the advancements in science and advancements in all these things. Baseball is at its peak. The way their analytics works, the way they pitch the player, the way they pitch to batters, the fact that every single team, all 30 teams, has at least 1 or 2 guys that are throwing 3 digits. That's never happened in the history of baseball. Imagine how different Mike Schmidt's career would have been. And I'm not dogging on any of these guys. I'm just saying they would have probably adapted, but I'm saying this is how much it's changed in baseball. Imagine the Mike Schmidts and the Wade Boggs and those guys. Robin Youts, all those guys. How different would their careers have been if they had to deal with an Aroldis Chapman throwing 104 miles an hour? Because they couldn't hit off Nolan Ryan, right? Nolan Ryan was pretty damn good, right? He wasn't throwing 104, though. Maybe once in a while, but he wasn't doing it on a daily basis. But he was that one guy. Rob Dibble was another guy. But imagine having those guys on every team. How different would that be? So the silver lining in all this is what we've essentially figured out much earlier than most, at least from people that I've been around, is continuing to be confirmed by these guys. Jeanie Buss and the Buss family, once Dr. Buss could no longer run the business, were never really capable of running this. And the only reason why they've won a championship since they've taken over is because LeBron James, for a small window, was able to use his rare talent to will at least one championship out of it. And I've said that since LeBron has been a star. I said, LeBron's going to win a championship. This was before he won the first one in Miami. I said, LeBron is going to win a championship. He's too talented not to. It was the same with Shaq. I said, Shaq's going to win a title. He's too talented. But what's the difference between Shaq, LeBron? Is I still feel, and I know this is maybe just me, but I still feel that they left a lot on the table because they made bad decisions from a basketball standpoint. Could have been maybe they weren't able to live up to clutch moments more. It may have been they let things outside distract them too much, which there's a lot of truth to that. LeBron, I believe, I wouldn't say it's even because his talent was too great. Same with Shaq. But I would say when you look at the Michael Jordans, the Kareems, the Kobes, the Magics, those guys focused on the game. More, it was the percentage was game, the basketball game. As much as they were popular out and there was a lot of stuff there, it was still the game. The game, I never felt cheated whenever I saw Kobe play or Jordan play or Magic a little bit of when I did see him play. I never saw them not I never felt like they weren't 100% there. Shaq was good too. Shaq was good too. But Shaq was a unique talent. Shaq cared about sometimes things like when I would hear things like I got hurt on company time, I'm gonna rest on company. Like things like that don't win you the extra title or two when you have that kind of thinking. As soon as shit went down after the Nick Anderson free throw, Shaq couldn't will his team to win that series when they should have. And Shaq and Kobe could not mend whatever was going on in the 04 finals to win that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing's perfect. I get it, but I remember LeBron more for the drama than I do for the championships a lot of ways. And that's a sad commentary. But in all in all, I care about winning more. And if you come back to me and say, Joe, would you have rather gone with Brandon Ingram, Randall, Lonzo, D'Angelo Russell, or have LeBron there and then a year later Anthony Davis? I'm going to pick LeBron and Anthony Davis 100% of the time. And I think Lonzo and D'Angelo have proven that. If Lonzo had lived up to his potential just a little bit, and if D'Angelo had become what I thought he would be, which is kind of a clone of James Harden, then it would have been a different story. But they didn't. They never did. They didn't really show that even the first few years they were in the league. So yeah, the end is near. I think this was the confirmation. So if you guys needed confirmation on what's going to happen at the end of the year, it's over. This will be the last year we have to deal with the LeBron drama. And it's pretty clear that Bronny will be gone as well, either through a trade or through a release.
But you're still eating a year on this contract if you do.
What does he make it, $1 million a year?
2. Depends how close you are to the cap. But they couldn't do it this year. But again, if you want to choke on it next year, they'll have plenty of cap space.
He's not going to do anything for your team anyway, so it doesn't really matter. For me, I'd rather free up the roster spot, eat a couple million. They're going to be so hot. They're going to be so free in the terms of money. I don't think it'll matter.
Should be okay.
Yeah.
Should be okay to let it go. But before we want to go ahead on with the show, again, it is talking about the latest article on ESPN that Baxter Holmes wrote on the Lakers and the internal strife between the Buss family in regards to the sale of the team. Of course, Legend, I'm going to get you back on because I know you have to head on out because it's on East Coast time, and I know it's already past midnight there, so I want to get you at least just your final thoughts on this, my friend. If you want to stop on by tomorrow and share even more on the post game, you're more than welcome to. But I want to get your thoughts, my friend, before you head on out.
My final thoughts is about the whole situation is pretty much like what Joe said. You don't see this with the Dodgers or anything like that, wise, and that's probably the good thing you see about Mark Walter coming in. You get rid of a lot of this family situation that you shouldn't have in the business wise, and it is unfortunate that it came out like that, and that's a distraction for the team. You already got enough going on with Rich Paul, podcast, all that going on, and you don't need nothing else. So it's kind of unfortunate that this is happening, but it's coming to an end. It's going to be over very soon, and clean house, and you move on from the whole Buss situation. So now they're going to do what they got to do. I don't think they're going to distract the team or anything like that. And I think I saw somebody in the comment mention about Luka. I don't think Luka worried about this. You know what he got coming in. He's going to be all right. Just deal with it for the season and get ready to clean house.
Well, there you have it, though. Again, please support my good friend Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Please like and subscribe, Legend. Always great having you on there. Again, I know you got to head on out, my friend, but what are you working on before you head on out, my friend, on your channel?
Definitely going to just talk about how Indiana probably made one of the greatest turnaround I've seen from a college football team within 2 seasons, and talk about what the Warriors going to have to do in order to save their future right now. Could look very bleak.
Oh, there you go. Yep, and I know that JY had a question in regards to that as far as any chance that LeBron gets traded to Golden State for Kuminga. First of all, I don't really want Kuminga because, again, a guy that's just he's a scorer, which is good, but can't shoot from distance, which doesn't help your shooting. And his defense, I guess, is part of the reason why he's been the doghouse for quite a bit. But for LeBron, you'd have to make the money work. The Lakers would probably have to get other pieces back from Golden State, but LeBron would also have to want to go to Golden State.
No
Remember,
trade clause.
if you remember, what is it, a season ago? I think as far as Ramona Shelburne reported
Yeah.
that yeah, I think Green and Curry both called LeBron trying to get him to come up to Golden State, and he said no. So I don't think if tried to get him there before and he didn't want to come, I don't think he'll want to do it now. Plus, he's got that no trade clause, so he has to say yes first up. But Legend, my friend, great to have you here. And again, I hope to have you on back whenever you want, my friend.
Yes, sir. Y'all two have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the show.
You too, my friend. Get some rest. Truly appreciate you stopping on by. What a trooper there Legend is for us. Again, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Again, he stopped on by to go ahead late at night to talk about the Bus family drama. And that's something I want to close with, Joe, on this show. Again, it is about the story that everyone is talking about, conveniently or strategically dropped in between days for the Lakers, and that is the internal strife, how it brought LeBron James into the mix. But interesting story about how the sale came together, about how the Bus brothers, Joey and Jesse, tried to circumvent the eventual sale by trying to get the other siblings to go in on a partial sale of the team in order to save the majority of it, going forward. Your thoughts on that, my friend? Because, we've often talked about how the Lakers ownership comparative to the other owners in the NBA are one of cash poor, for lack of a better term. They're one of the, for lack of a better term, poorest owners in the NBA, comparatively speaking. Although, I don't think anybody's really feeling sorry for them because their worth is still, before this sale was made, was, quite a few bucks indeed. But your thoughts, my friend, on the Bus brothers, because a lot of it's told from their perspective, especially early on in this article. A lot of it is told from their perspective, how they were dealt with, how they were ultimately fired from, what was spoken to them. Your thoughts on how they were treated during their time and their efforts to try and save the ownership of the Lakers for them.
I initially thought maybe they wanted to run the business. I complimented them on that. It's their family business. You can't sit there and say, well, you should want to sell. I understand that part. They maybe didn't look at it from a money standpoint. They looked at it, look, this is our life. We want this to be our livelihood, and it's our father's.
Because that's what
Yeah,
Dr. Jerry Buss wanted. He
totally
wanted
get
to
it.
leave this
Totally
towards
get
the kids in perpetuum.
Totally get it. And then certain reports here today where they thought they could get more money
Or
than
in
10.
perpetuity, I'm sorry.
Yeah. There could be, it could have sold for 12. So you thought maybe you can get another $250,000. Okay. That makes sense too. This is a no-win situation for them because they weren't put in charge. I think they were too young by the time Dr. Buss was in an area where he could make that decision. But in the end, looking at it selfishly as a Laker fan, what would you have been able to do anyways? Your team is already struggling to finance what you need to finance. You're a mom and pop shop trying to guide a franchise that is ungodly. It's just you're not equipped to do it. You don't have the resources, you don't have the connections to do what Mark Walters can do. And the Buss family has done really nothing in terms of improving the Laker brand since they've run things. Whether it's this person's fault, that person's fault, it's irrelevant at this point. This is Dr. Buss's legacy. The reason why the Lakers have won 11 championships since he's taken over, since the family's taken over this franchise, is because of Dr. Buss. His decisions to put the right people in this, to allow Jerry West to cook, to allow Mitch Kupchak to be who he was, to allow Pat Riley to flourish, to allow the team to not worry about what teams were worried about in the 80s. Because so many people don't remember those times. They weren't born yet. The NBA was not flourishing when Dr. Buss bought this team. He created the market. He helped create what you see today in the NBA. And to expect the second generation or the third generation to live up to that is you're asking to be let down, because times are different now. They had it easy. Jeanie had it easy. Yeah, she worked hard, blah, blah, blah. You know, when I hear the word work hard, it always makes me laugh. I've never worked hard a day in my fucking life. You know
Somehow
what?
I believe that.
You know what working hard means? When you have to work or you don't eat. I've never had to worry about that, because I educated myself, because I read certain books and I took certain classes, and I was able to use my head, not physically use my hands and feet to get me where I needed to go. And to me, what's working hard? I don't know what that means. I've sat many a times in a vehicle going back and forth, lifting, thinking, plotting, organizing. Is that working hard? Yeah, I came home tired, dead tired on a 16, 18-hour day. Sweated, feel just absolutely busted from just working, thinking, moving, whatever. That's still not working hard. That's nothing. So I don't know what that means, because I don't believe I've ever worked hard. Because my definition of working hard is you have to do it or you're going to suffer. You can't eat that day. You can't stay under a roof when it's 4 degrees outside. That is working hard. So I think we've created this, because you listen to these interviews a lot of, oh man, I worked hard and I worked hard and I worked hard. You worked hard? Come on. Jeanie Buss and the Buss family hit the genetic lottery. Their dad is Dr. Buss. Dr. Buss made mistakes in his life, tried to make up for it by involving his family, his kids, and hoping that they would flourish with it. If you look at it from an objective standpoint, they succeeded. They're healthy. They're millionaires, billionaires now, whatever it is. Cool. But as far as how that pertains to our situation, we're not connected like that. We're fans of the club. We're fans of the team. All we care about is that they compete and win. And you have to give her credit now for making the decision to finally say, we're done here. And I'm going to allow this person here to handle this business. So all this stuff, all the derogatory things, all this disrespect, respect back and forth, to me at this moment right now, I don't give a shit about their family drama. I don't want to even know they exist if it was up to me right now. What I will give her credit for is she sold this business to the best person she could have sold it to. And I'm excited for that, because all of this is going to be gone very, very soon. And it'll be a footnote in the history of the LA Lakers.
We won't have to deal with any more of the bus drama and all that stuff. Again, we've grown a little bit numb to it, and again, some interesting revelations came out of it. But just it does it surprise me? No. If you know the history of the bus family drama, you realize that a lot of the stuff is just part for the course. I mean, the agreement that took place between Dr. Jerry Buss, allegedly, and his wife regarding no more kids after what they had was interesting. And the fact that if it is true, what was said, and again, I don't know which sources were cited because, again, I think they were all left anonymous in Baxter Holmes' report. But supposedly, it was said by Jeannie to Jesse, I believe, that should have never been born. That's kind of cold. No matter what, how it's phrased or anything like that, it's just a little. We always talk about Jeannie, how nice she is, and how she presents herself to the public, and all that, and that she's made some hard decisions. Even in the article, her younger sister by 2 years, Janie, said, she is truly a nice person, but she's had to make some really tough decisions. That being said, if those words were uttered to or about or in meaning to of the two half brothers, regardless of what was agreed upon, that's still just it's not a it's just a cold thing to say or refer to.
I don't think I could give a shit any less
Okay.
than I do right now.
Well, you're a cold person, so there you go.
I don't care. It doesn't change my opinion of her either way. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I don't care.
I'm not asking you to change your opinion, but I'm just saying it.
I just don't care. I'm reading this stuff and I'm going, okay, what is it exactly?
What if your half sibling came up to you and said that you should have never been born?
Thanks. I'm not the right guy. I'm not the right person to ask me that kind of question. I am not affected by words. I may react in an aggressive manner if I feel like I'm being called out, but the second I'm done, it's over. I don't give a shit about words. Zero. It doesn't affect me. I don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. And most of the people who say that are lying out of their ass, but I am the exception. And if you need proof, talk to my wife, talk to my crew, talk to my customers, talk to my people that work with me, my neighbors, and you'll get the proof. Like I said, and I'll say it all the time, all you got to do is hang out with me for 2 weeks.
And you just talk to Google and just check out 3 years of shows to find that out as well.
It doesn't fucking matter. It is a waste of time. You're on this planet for a very short amount of time. None of this shit fucking matters. Okay? This nonsense. This is where ego and bullshit just keep piling up. The only thing that matters is you take care of your people. You make the path better. And then if you can advance humanity a little bit, hell, that's a good thing to do. Why not? If I can check out in the next 30 years and leave the place better than I came into it, then that's going to help my kids. It's going to help my being nice to your neighbor. That's going to give him or her a positive feeling, at least in this area, right? Like, it does matter how you treat people and how you create your I guess your lifestyle. But I'm not here when I'm watching sports, okay? I'm tuning in to watch Game 7 of the World Series for the 55th time, for the bunt, for the hit, for the out. I don't give a shit what Bo Bichette did in his house with his parents. I don't care what Mookie Betts does in his off time. I don't care. I'm watching Mookie Betts And Freddie Freeman, yes, it's nice that Freddie Freeman and Mookie are great human beings. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. It adds to the fact why the team is so tight. Absolutely. Great. But that's not any motivation to me. I am interested in watching Freddie Freeman catch outs at first and hit home runs because that's what I've invested my time in. I'm not here to play the family feud. It's there's too much shit going on in life. Jeanie Buss and the Buss family, Jesus, we've known about who they are for years now. It's tired. I didn't need Baxter Holmes to put an article out to say this. I saw this at 6 o'clock in the morning and I started looking at the headline. I go, are you serious? And I said, okay, let me click on this real quick. I started reading about, I was just scanning through it, started reading about maybe 5 seconds into it. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to go do 30 minutes of cardio. And I put music on and that was it. Because I was worried about turning the TV on and having it all over the place too. It's just, I'm tired. I'm tired of adults being a bunch of bitches and 12-year-olds. I'm over that. It's over. I can be immature, but it's a controlled immature. I'm doing it for effect. I'm doing it because it's fun. And sometimes maybe it might not be fun, and then I'll kind of have to scale back. But I wouldn't have any of these problems. I don't have these problems. Wouldn't allow it. Not when it comes to family, not when it comes to good friends, your neighbors. Can't do that.
I'll just say this again, a couple things that wanted to point out from the chat before we head on out. I guess some people are asking for your birthday.
March 1.
Okay, there you go. All right, so you guys know March 1. I'm not April Fool's.
I'll be 48.
There you go. Closing it on me. Ralph is asking, he said, you mentioned quite a bit about what you don't care about. He's asking, remember, he is a relative, what you do care about.
What's the question?
What do you care about? And remember, the person who asked it is a relative of yours.
I care about my family and friends being safe. It's about protection. I'm a protector. I protect everybody around me. I protect myself, obviously. I care about those things. I care about not being bothered. I don't have any vices. I do have an addictive personality, but my ego is big enough to know that I'm never going to be controlled by it. Like I would never be a drug addict. It's not possible, right? Drinking. So somebody was making a joke. I drink a lot, right? I don't drink a lot. I drink for the show and I drink socially. I don't come home and open up a beer and drink it. I don't have a hard day and I need a beer so I can. No, drinking is purely entertainment. I don't need it. I can be just as funny without it. Now, there is a difference, though. There is one difference. I get extremely strong when I'm drunk. I don't feel pain. That's probably what it is. But yeah, I don't have problems, Gerald. I mean, if I've told God, I said, just give me health and I'll handle everything else. That's it. I'm addicted to winning. Yes. That is true, and that is probably the biggest surprise of my life. I did not think I would be as invested into something I have no control over at all, as much as I have especially the last 20 years. My addiction to winning is sometimes it's stupid. This World Series was stupid. How my body and my reaction to it all was absolutely ridiculous. I was very upset with myself, thinking I was going to have a heart attack over a fucking baseball game. Really? That's absolutely just stupid. But what ended up happening was, by feeling like my chest was caving in, they win. And then now I feel like Wolverine. Adamantium just fixed it, and now there's nothing but joy. So I had to go through that stupid phase to really, really, I mean, the dopamine is still rolling. It won't go away. We've been done since November 2nd, technically, when it went above the midnight in Toronto. I'm still on that freaking dopamine of that win. So in the long run, it turned out to be one of those things where, okay, you went through the depths of hell emotionally so that you could benefit from the high. It's I said this a few times on the show. It was like when you lose something that's really important and then you find it, and it was almost worth losing that, whatever it was, just to have that feeling of finding it because it felt so good. That's what this was. It was like losing my wallet that I have everything in my life in, and then finding it, thinking you would never find it, but you find it, and then that feeling of finding it is like, wow, it was almost worth losing it just so I could feel this amazing feeling of finding it.
So I'll leave you guys with one last question from Joe. And once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're new here and you stopped on by. We're the best in Lakers information and opinions, but also Joe has his own channel where he talked about the Lakers bust family drama and also as well about Kyle Tucker signing with the Dodgers. And that is the Joe Soro experiment. Like that and subscribe to that channel on YouTube as well. But before we end it out, just one last question. I know Jeremy was in the chat and he wanted to know because he's just catching up on late, but he wanted to know. And I'm going to tie it in together because much of this article was about Jeanie, the things she said allegedly or did allegedly, and then tied into Jeanie allegedly and her ties with LeBron, dissatisfaction, what have you, whether or not you want to say it's true or not. She said that part of it wasn't true. So I will leave you with this. Maybe this, like you said, could be the final straw. But come October, because we already know that LeBron is going to be, at the end of his contract will be done. We also know that as well, when it comes to Jeanie Buss, yes, she did sell the team to Mark, gave him the majority ownership of the team, but she's still staying on as governor for 5 years. But is there a way that maybe this article has precipitated that possibly could mean that come October, A, we will not see LeBron anymore in a Laker uniform, and B, we will not see Jeanie as the governor of the Los Angeles Lakers?
I don't know about the Jeanie part. I can almost guarantee that LeBron will not be back in October, less a championship, which I don't think is going to happen. Jeanie Buss is an interesting question because I don't know if Mark Walter made a deal with her saying, look, I don't mind you being here. I'm more than willing to have you have the title. That might be it. She might still be there in name. And maybe that's what she wants. Maybe she still wants the prestige of being the governor. However, I don't really give a shit about that either. Just stay the fuck away from the stuff that matters. But I don't know how you do that. You can't have you have Mark Walter, Stan Kasten, Andrew Friedman. These guys all are like, it's like James Worthy, Magic, Kareem. What would you do if you put Adrian Dantley in there now? Put Adrian Dantley in that crew in the 80s. And again, the funny thing is Adrian Dantley was a Laker, right? But in that instance, just like how they didn't want Isaiah on the Olympic team, he would have fucked it up. Her just being there fucks up that whole chemistry. Brandon Gomes, even the general manager of of the Dodgers. He's like he was interviewed today for the Kyle Tucker. He's just what I love about him and Friedman is Kirsten Watson, who's the reporter for them right now. She asked him a question and he kind of answered it. And Andrew did that too. We're probably not going to go with any pitchers from here on out. It's not likely. Well, I love things like that. It makes sense, doesn't it? When Andrew did that, when he did a 15-minute interview today, Gomi, Kirsten asked Gomi, so this has got to be it, right? He's like, we're never really done, but we're pretty good. It's like, you can't buy that sometimes, man. It's really nice because they can't say anything. Sometimes the stuff that they can't say, it's legally they can't, right? But I don't know how the relationship matters in terms of Mark Walter and his group, but I don't feel like this thing can really be what it needs to be until she's gone completely. And I just off instinct think that it's going to happen. I just don't know if it's going to be this October, but maybe in about 2 years, 3 years, probably it'll finally be okay. She's no longer the governor. Stupidest fucking name to describe an owner.
Well, with that, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro. Please follow him at the Joe Soro Experiment. Go make sure if you're in the Southern California area and you need a lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, stop by Sinblades, sinbladeswithay.com. Don't forget, we'll be back for more scintillating conversation and opinion, as only we can give it to you.
Do you blame Jeannie for being ruthless? She has 2 older brothers that are knobs. The other sister, she's not really involved in anything, so I don't think she's a problem. And then she's got 2 half brothers from likely a scar from the fact that her dad decided to go another way against her mom. So she looks at maybe Joey and Jesse as the fruits of what her dad did that made him not be there for her when she was growing up.
Well, I think personally that the family involvement, which Dr. Buss wanted so much, has been part of the reason for the Lakers' demise since his passing. Because again, not just the internal strife involved, but the fact is they just don't know the sport as well as.
Are you going to blame Joey and Jesse for Stay Dwight? Was that their idea?
I could blame them before the guys being, in charge of the scouting department, and of course, what we've seen as far as
in terms of scouting department, have you seen the Lakers in any era besides this area where they hit on non-drafted players like they have? So whoever was really in charge of scouting, maybe we should give them a little credit for Alex Caruso and Austin Reeves.
But what about the same credit for Jalen Hood-Schifino? Dalton
so who made that call? That would be something I would like to learn. Who made the call on all these picks? And again, look, I still use the same name. Jerry West drafted Sam Jacobson in 1998. Everyone has a dud. However, I'd like to know the final call. Okay, so let's say person A picked 3 guys that hit, and then he hit, and he didn't miss on this one, or he didn't make it on this one. Okay, well, he hit on 3. 3 out of 4 is good. Or do we find out that Jeannie and Rob got in the way whenever they felt like they needed to get in the way, and then they were the decision makers on this particular player, and they ended up picking 4 out of the 5 that were bad? Or was it Jesse and Joey getting frustrated, sabotaging them? Who knows what it is? But in the end, it doesn't matter. Because all this stuff is about selfish, ego, bullshit high school drama. It's about winning. Why did I say that I'm happy LeBron came? Because in the end, he did turn a 17, 20-win disaster for 3 years into now we can actually feel good about having a star and maybe he'll bring a star into this, and then now we can start seeing championships. And they were on that path. They were on that damn path until they fucking traded for Russell Westbrook. I don't think it's racial. No, I think if anything, it's. I don't think it. You know, and I'm not trying to say that.
Thank you for the super chat. Truly appreciate it.
I'm not going to say. Look, ESPN are pandering assholes. Disney. I find it funny that Netflix and Disney are, and Warner Brothers and all that bullshit that's going on. I don't know if it's still going on. They all have the same stupid fake ass program. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter again in the end. All that matters is getting rid of the trash. It's time. It's time to get rid of the trash. Time for the adults to take over. Go enjoy your billions of dollars. And I let this new group build the next dynasty. We are very fortunate that the Luka trade happened. I mean, absolutely just devastatingly lucky. Because if it wasn't for that, I don't know what the hell they would have done.
Well, again, the article's out there. You guys determine whatever you want from it. But there's a lot of salacious and inside details on the goings on as far as the behind the scenes, the Buss family drama, how LeBron got dragged into it, and the whole 9 yards. So go ahead. It's on ESPN.com by Baxter Holmes.
Stefan, are you drinking tonight? You've been saying some weird things.
No, he and I had a conversation. Actually, I recorded an episode of his podcast, an upcoming episode of his podcast that he's going to release at a later date. And one of the topics that was brought up was regarding Rob Pelinka. And I'll just say he kind of agreed with me that Rob Pelinka is a below average GM. I got you, Stefan. No, we had a nice discussion per se, because he is for Pelinka. I am not for Pelinka, and I'll just
the nepotism thing is always an interesting topic, because I can't come off as a hypocrite here because I'm a Steeler fan and the Rooneys have.
Well, I did want to mention one last thing when it comes to this article. They did mention that she, over the course of time, has, and we knew this already, Joe, that she has been closely aligned and has more trust and faith, and grew more trust and faith in the Ramby, Linda and Kurt, and one Rob Pelinka over her own family members, which I'm not going to say, it's like the two, you've got bad and worse, because it was clear that Jim and Johnny could not run this franchise. When they were given the opportunity to run this franchise, they could not run it in a proper fashion. So I understand, I get that, but who she gave it to or who she listens to isn't always the best word of advice myself either. So it's rocking a hard place. How about that?
I hate that I have to dislike, and I really, really tried to get out of this trap, because I love Byron Scott. I loved Luke Walton. I loved Kurt Rambis, right? As players.
Like we love Magic as a player.
Right? And how do you, if you're a weak-minded person, I think you'll let that seep into it, but I've refused to. I still love Byron Scott. I still like Luke Walton. Magic is awesome. But I'm sorry, guys, but Magic knows more about basketball. Magic knows more about playing basketball. Yes. But are you going to tell Sam Presti that Magic Johnson knows more about him, more about basketball operations than Sam Presti? Sam Presti never played in the NBA, right? Not that I know.
No.
I don't even know if he played in college. Maybe he did. So this thing where we're supposed to fall in line when somebody says, well, that's Magic, or that's someone who's played, and I'm not talking about basketball playing. That's something I usually try not to criticize too much, because that has a lot of variables to it. But Magic Johnson traded Zubac for Muscala.
But who was the general manager at that time?
And that's probably why they had a wrench in their
Magic
relationship.
was the president, but also.
But forget about that. That's not where I'm getting at. I'm talking about, you're telling me Magic Johnson, who knows basketball, made a trade that I don't think I would have made if I was blind and deaf.
I agree, but and then the general manager of that team should have interceded and said to Magic, you know what? If I was blind and deaf, I wouldn't make that trade. But
so again,
the
here's the
manager
thing.
did.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What my point is here is we got to get out of this. It's not nepotism. It's you got to be able to recognize who can do the job. You have to be able to have that talent to be good at your job. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be in your position. Can Kurt Rambis find the right players in the draft? Can he acquire talent? Can he make a trade?
What is he advising on?
That's the thing is, what is an advisor? To me, when I hear somebody's an advisor, and I'm going, well, what makes him an advisor? Like, if you're telling me Jerry West is a consultant, okay. If you tell me Sam Presti isn't a consultant, okay. You want to tell me Brad Stevens is a consultant, okay. Because those guys have a track record. And Jerry West was in retirement age. He didn't want all the work, but he wanted to still make a living and be valuable, not die, right? Like, I'm totally with that. I'm never going to not work until I can't, right? Because I'll get bored and I'll die. What else is there to do? What the hell has Kurt Rambis done? Or Linda Rambis? What the fuck has she done?
And I want to add one more thing before we head on out. Speaking of the Rambi, as a part of the sale, guess what, Joe? I don't know if you overlooked this on, or you may have overlooked it, or you said you didn't read the article. As a little side bonus for the sale of the team and the valuation at $10 billion, blah 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 blah, or the $6 billion that that had to be added on to make that $10 billion valuation that Mark Walter put in. Certain individuals of the executive offices got a little side cash, as far as it's concerned, a bonus per se, whether it was 8 million or 24 million, in honor of Kobe, of course. And those individuals, I believe, according to the article, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, were Linda and Kurt Rambis. Linda, I believe, got 24. Kurt got 8. I forget what the CFO, who got, because he got a bonus as well, and Rob Pelinka. So all those guys, all those people, all those individuals got bonuses just by being there when the transaction was made, Joe. How does that sit with you?
Well, it makes sense why they kept dealing with the fallout. It was for the money.
Good job if you can get it.
They got paid by association.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's nice. And again, I don't. That's not my business in the end. If that's how she set it up, good for her, good for them. I don't care. As a fan, observing the setup, what are you going to tell me?
Ralph,
what are you going to tell me? What are you going to tell me that that was something that I don't know?
I'll just leave it with this. Ralph said, Joe and Jared, if you took over the Lakers at the end of the season, what are the first steps you do with Bron? Who do you sign? What would you like to see? I'll let you lead into.
Who would I want to sign at the end of this year?
What would happen? Because, like I said, what are you supposed to do at the end of the season? What are you going to do?
If I have total control over the Lakers, I can make any decision I want. First and foremost, every single Genie bus connection, every bus connection is gone.
Same here.
Every single one, even to the paperclip guy.
Same here.
Gone. The next step is LeBron will be celebrated, and he will go out with gifts and
Just like on a game show.
Amazing exit. Thank you. 8 years of amazing basketball from one of the greatest to ever do it.
There is a Lakers Monopoly board game you could give them on the way out.
But we're gonna go find the next setup. And
same here.
Right. And then I would also tell him to his face, we're going to release Bronny James as well. So he's free to go wherever you want him to go. If you want to go play out one more year to get your flowers, congratulations. We'll celebrate you. If you do plan on coming back with another team next year, you're welcome here anytime. So LeBron, Clutch is gone. Bronny's going to be released the moment we can release him.
That's or be done. Traded to wherever Bron is going.
If somebody can take the trade, yeah, absolutely. If you can get a ham sandwich for it, I'd do it.
Well, I'm assuming if Bron, let's say that happens and Bron wants to play one final year in Cleveland. Let's just use Cleveland as example. I'm sure he'll help orchestrate a trade.
I would almost guarantee he'll never.
Well, I'm just using as an example.
Yeah.
Or Golden State or what have you.
Yeah, maybe the Clippers might take him, right?
Yeah, for the Clippers, Bronny will go with it. The Lakers will.
It doesn't matter to me. To me, I'm just going to tell him we're releasing him. So he's gone. So Clutch is gone. LeBron is gone. Bronny's gone. Everything from the Bus family is gone. And then I'm making calls. I don't know the setup on how this is in the NBA, but I'm going to call the best general managers alive and see if there's availability.
I'd start with Sam Presti.
Hell to the yes. And then if Sam Presti says no, I'm calling Brad Stevens.
One thing, well, before you go there, and if they say no, but one thing I would say consider, and just consider, if Sam Presti says no, immediately no, says, by the way, how is your assistant GM doing that has seen you? Because I looked up their organizational plan. Both of their guys that are under Sam Presti's watch have been there for over a decade. Just saying, Joe.
Yeah, no. That's great. Absolutely. That's the fallback. So you call Brad Stevens if Presti says no. If he says no, then you call Tim Connelly. I think Tim Connelly comes. Tim Connelly's built 2 perennial franchises, and he built them in Denver and in Minnesota. That's
Stefan.
That's talent. Not once, twice. That's pretty damn good. But I think Tim Connelly would come. I don't think you'd have to go and get the assistants in Oklahoma.
True. Yeah. Would you like to get out of the cold in Minnesota? And
it is zero doubt that I think Connelly. So he's the third call, and I think he would say yes 100%.
But if not, I'm just saying, keep that in the back of your mind, everyone. Is if you wouldn't get Sam Presti. I don't think you could back up the Brinks truck far enough to get Sam Presti.
No. Hold on.
Assistant GMs.
There's no way. There's zero chance that he's not going to at least address it. No. Much like Mike Krzyzewski. Think about this for a second.
Or try and work it out for some ownership part of the OKC.
Mike Krzyzewski would have never given a hint of coming to the NBA unless it was Kobe Bryant begging him. And even he considered it. There's going to be a consideration. Whether he takes it or not, I don't know. But he's going to consider it because there's no way he won't be swayed a little bit to consider it. If you don't get him, you go call Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens says no, Tim Connelly. And even if he says no, then you can start going down to the disciples. And in a lot of ways, there's something cool about that too. Kind of like how Sean McVay, this is another argument I've had with people that are stubborn as fuck. Even though I've watched every fucking game this guy coached. How many disciples have become head coaches in 19 seasons? How many branches went out and created their own tree under Mike Tomlin's tree? 0 in 19 years. And I'm being told this guy is a great coach. Sean McVay, every year he's been practically coaching in the NFL, their teams are coming out of the woods, they're coming out of the ocean and looking at they're not even looking at coordinators on that team to come coach them. You want that. You want what the greats are doing. And that's probably part of why I want the Rams to win. And again, I don't care who wins. I think any of the 4 teams left, whoever wins, I think there's a great story in it because I really like Mike Rabel. I thought when Tennessee fired him, I thought, oh my God, how stupid is this team? This has got to be the dumbest team ever. This is a guy that almost took your team to the Super Bowl with no quarterback in a time when they were changing the rules in the late 2010s, you didn't have a quarterback. You had zero chance. Now at least a little bit of the defenses have caught up to things. And quarterbacking has gotten kind of run down a little bit because Mahomes is hurting. The pressure's finally really, really hurting Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson is starting to feel all those runs now. Like I don't understand how some of these guys have their jobs. So in baseball, I've said this before, and this is for those who didn't hear it. The Dodgers had a really good GM, Gerald, when the Guggenheims bought the team. Ned Colletti. Ned Colletti is why you had Kershaw, why you had Seager, why you had Will Smith. He's the guy that drafted those guys. And some of those guys are still on the team, right? Like Will Smith's still on the team. Clutch as hell, right? That's a Ned Colletti guy, okay? They still got Andrew Friedman, who was arguably the best GM in Major League Baseball. They got him 2 years later. So you got to let this play out, but I have no doubt they're going to get who they want. They're going to get whether it's Presti, whether it's Disciples, whether it's Conley, whether it's Bratz. They're going to get the best guy possible for this thing. And the guy that comes and does this is going to come because imagine your employer telling you to come be the boss of the LA Lakers with Luka Doncic, who's not he's a diva in a sense. But he's not a chemistry killer. He talks too much. He talks to the refs too much, but he's not a chemistry killer. He's not going to be a bad teammate. He's never been everybody loves Luka. That was probably the best thing about the trade the few days later when you started hearing guys talking about, man, Luka being gone is like that was a bad, like you could tell they were pissed off. Kyrie Irving doesn't like anybody, and he loves Luka. That tells you a lot too.
It does.
Right? So what's going to happen here is you're going to have Mark Walter and his people say, you have carte blanche on anything you need here. We have the best scouts, the best facilities. Dude, Gerald, they have a high-end chef that cooks for their minor league teams. They just built, I saw it from the outside and I was like, wow, it's sad that they built this for a triple A team, double A team, I think now that they've moved from Cucamonga to Ontario. I got to check it out. They built a stadium in Ontario. It puts the A's place to shame. This is a professional team, right? These guys are going all out on the first class thing. They are going to get the man that they want, and he will want to come work with the Lakers because he'll have every advantage to succeed without the bullshit around the normal stuff.
And on that note, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Don't forget, we'll be on tomorrow night for the post-game show after the Lakers and Clippers. It is the Lakers and Clippers. Again, I don't think it's going to bother the team much what was dropped today. I don't think, LeBron will get his few standard questions. He'll give his standard rhetorical answer. I love Jeannie or whatever.
Extra. Why would I rant right now? I'm having a good time.
Well, it's the flow and just whatnot. He just like listen to it. It's like
No,
listening
yeah. Believe me, I don't. I haven't had a reason to rant lately. I don't know if you guys noticed that, or at least I haven't noticed it. Have I
uh,
really ranted? Really?
and JSJ on Steve Kerr. We don't even know if he wants to coach after this season. His contract ends this season, but he could go be an executive again. He'd be like $1 million, multi-million dollar individual, whatever channel that he would want to go to. We don't even know if he's burnt out yet. So,
I think they made a big mistake bringing back Draymond Green. I think he'd have less gray hairs without that guy on that team.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
that
blood
guy's a
pressure would be a
disaster.
lot lower. Yeah, absolutely. So we will see the Lakers and Clippers in action tomorrow. But don't forget, after the game, we'll be on the post game, which is the best post game around. We can talk more about this article if you guys want to, or we'll talk about the game, of course, and also some stuff that's leading into the trade deadline, whether or not the Lakers will be active or not. But we always have our opinions. It's the best insight and opinions out there on the interwebs. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. If you like what we do, like and subscribe. Leave that comment below if you're watching this after the fact. Don't forget, Joe Soro has been on for quite a while this evening. He was on for quite a while on his channel, the Joe Soro Experiment, talking about Kyle Tucker going to the Dodgers and what that means, and also as well about the Bust family drama as well. So for Joe Soro, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with John Costa, who was dominating his adult rec league tonight, Joe. He said something about jumping over cars to slam dunk or 360 layups. I don't know what he meant by that, but he said he was dominating his adult rec lead. And, I think before he had set the challenge out to you on a one-on-one. So I just want to
there's no chance he'd ever be able to dunk on me because I'd Bill Lambier his ass into the freaking ground.
Okay. All right. Sweet. There you go. Still want to see that one of these days, but hopefully John will be here. Hopefully Legend will be here. Hopefully Joe will be here. And hopefully you will be here as well as we talk Lakers and Clippers and a whole lot more, as we always do right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.